And then the question is that being triggered by the moon? By, but what I'm saying is sometimes because you're not dealing with an exact time, you're looking at all this information. But for instance, I've tried it before and been wrong. And then later on gone, oh, well, if I had moved the moon, if this person had been born at 7 o'clock at night, there would have been a Neptune exact to the minute square to their moon, to their progression, and it would have thrown everything off. And then what happened seemed to mirror more what would be the reality if they had been born at 7 p.m. instead of at noon. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's too much. It's too difficult. Um, I I have enough success doing what I do
Mm-hmm.
to have to try to mess with that. I mean, I want to learn more, and I'd love to try. Like, I think there's a way to reverse engineer some of this stuff,
Yeah.
but it would take a lot of time. And I've tried to reverse engineer some of it, like the question of a institution for sports. Um, and then what chart do we use specifically for that institution? And how do we know if that chart is exactly going to be accurate? Even if we decide whether we're going to use when someone came up with the idea to start a team on the particular institution. But just as an example, look at Virginia University. I think they had, like in college basketball, I looked at this in the past. They had the biggest upset in the history of college basketball during the regular season, way back in 1983, I think it was, when they went to Maui and lost to Chaminade College, and they had the number one team in the country, and they had a 7'4" center. Okay, and then just a couple of years back, maybe 5 or 6 years back, they became the first number one team to lose to a 16 seed in the national tournament. Okay, so the question is why that institution owns the biggest upset, because we see this in sports, right? We see a person embody an archetype. We know that there's certain athletes that are always gamers, right? They
Mm-hmm.
always become the heroes of their story, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
know the other athletes that always end up being on the losing end, or maybe they can't ever win the big one, right? So we see
Mm-hmm.
how their particular stories kind of become molded into an archetype that if we had the exact chart, we could see why. But with the case of Virginia, the interesting point is that I remember looking at the game time for both games. Saturn was in the exact same mundane position for the game time of both games. I do not know to what degree that's critical, but I know that if I could look at all the major upsets in the history, the let's say that let's say I took the 25 biggest upsets in the history of their school. I feel like it's possible that I could reverse engineer the natal mandala triggers, like we're talking about the mundane triggers, where certain planets would be in certain mundane positions. And over time, maybe we could reverse engineer based on degrees of sensitivity, based on the type of players that, if you notice that they draw someone, if they keep drawing people that are 13 degrees um, in mutable signs to them as players, then you're going to guess that there must be something within the energy structure of the athletic uh, institution, the whole institutional chart, that would be 13 degrees of mutable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. I mean, I'm just rambling on about these complexes.
Well, we've been at it a while, which is why I
it's
should
so
ask you,
it's
what
so
should we
complex.
focus on toward, because I know I've kept you a long time. What do you want to focus on for our listeners to know from you about the subject, I guess we
Oh,
should
Nick,
say.
I'd rather just answer a question. I think
Well, everybody, of
if
course,
there if,
wants to know what to look for, but you're right in the sense of every chart's different. But I mean, are there any standards that someone can look for to see,
well,
like, when's a lucky time versus an unlucky
if
time,
you
or
if you've got outer planets, Saturn Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, making strain, squares, oppositions, sesosquares to your natal sun, moon, Venus. You want to avoid those.
Okay.
You want to look at your progressions to find out where your progressions are. Are you in a time where your progress moon is in a sensitive spot in your chart? Is transiting Saturn, transiting Neptune, Uranus, Pluto? Is it squaring or making any hard hits to any of your personal planets? Was there a recent eclipse? Are we in an eclipse orb? Where was the eclipse hitting? Um, Jupiter certainly is a good planet for luck. Venus is good. Uranus can be good. All these things can be. Neptune and Pluto can be amazing because through them, they can give us power. We can become empowered or we can become destroyed by these outer planets. It just
Okay.
depends on how they hit us. I mean, if a person is having, um, let's say they're having a particular uh, let's say Pluto's making a conjunction to their moon, but they happen to have a strong relationship with Pluto and the moon in their chart. Okay. And then you
Hmm.
got Jupiter on top of it coming along, making a trine or something. In that case, Pluto might be very empowering and they may feel like they're just destroying people at the poker table. They feel like they're in control of collective resources.
Okay.
Okay. In that particular time. In another time, if Saturn is squaring the sun or squaring the moon, they can feel the opposite. They can feel like they're being robbed of their power. They feel like they're being confronted by forces that almost feels like the universe is out to attack them or out to get them. It can almost feel that way. Um, so I hope that answers that.
Yeah. All right. Well, to whoever's in listening, how can they get a hold of you to know about your book and talk to you, maybe get a reading or whatever? How does someone get a hold of you?
Well, my website, OregonAstrologer.com,
Mm-hmm.
and there's links there. And in fact, I offer a gambling time package where I analyze your chart. And when I send you a chart analysis, I'll tell you exactly what the sensitive spots of your chart are.
Okay.
So I give you all the information of what spots in your chart to look for, what spots to avoid. I give you a series of times, and I'll actually tell you what it is about that time that's special. So I'll tell you what's hitting you on that particular day.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Um,
That's a lot of work you're doing then to go through all that. Yeah.
well, I charge quite a bit. Yeah, in fact,
Well,
I think I just recently up my price to 350, but I may have to recheck that. I haven't been, one of my biggest sales pitches with this, if there is one,
mm-hmm.
is that I don't need the income of doing charts for people anymore because I make money doing this for myself. And
Right.
so I try to charge enough to where I'm not so overwhelmed because I make more money gambling doing this than I would back in the past when I was charging $100 a pop to do these readings.
Well,
Uh,
that's what to me makes you more valuable. You're actually on the line doing your own work. So you know what you're talking about, not just pulling things out of thin air.
yeah, so I saw a little thing up here, Renita, I think it was. So let me spell. It's the state of Oregon, Oregon, astrologer. Oregon Astrologer at gmail.com. Before I was
Hmm.
doing gambling readings, I lived in Oregon and I was just the Oregon Astrologer. You're welcome. Was doing, and I was doing readings more on the lines of Jungian psychology. I was helping people understand their unconscious patterns, and why they experience the patterns that they do. Because that's just what the crux of it is. We're trying to understand our own patterns. And for each of you, each have your own pattern, your own relationship with money, your own karma with money. Your chart's going to show that. So this is the question. So my book is going to be called The Life of the Gambling Astrologer. It is not out yet. I'm actually 80% done with my book. I'm still working on it. I have a YouTube channel, and there's a link on my website but the YouTube channel is The Adventures of the Gambling Astrologer. And on that channel, I actually take you through the casino sometimes, and I show you the plays that I take and why I take those plays.
Cool. Well, I definitely learned a lot. I want to thank you for your time, Bill, very much. And I know we got
Absolutely.
ways to
Yeah,
reach you, and I'm sure we're gonna have more questions. So can I thank you for joining us today?
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks. This is fun. Yeah, feel free to message me questions. I'm glad to help. I like teaching and I enjoy it. So, all right.
I
Good
appreciate
luck to
it.
everybody. No
All
problem.
right.
All right.
Thanks for
Yep.
coming, and we'll
Yep.
talk to you later. Oh. Anyone hear me?